So this is a short Dharma talk on the idea of self. We're born into this world and we have uh, created a sense of self. The people who raised us, they help contribute to cultivating that sense of self. And then around 12, 13, we start to have this individual personality, maybe even younger than that. And that personality grows and it develops into something. And this is very interesting because the self is always changing. So if you think about who you were when you were a child, think about what you liked, what you didn't like, and then when you were a teenager, and then who you are now. It's very, very different. And it's said that we have to find ourselves or construct the self in order to deconstruct the self. So I want to talk on this very briefly because it's a very important topic. And in some circles, uh, people haven't really found themselves yet, and they start to deconstruct the self. In the beginner level of meditation, it's so useful to be able to find out who you are. So when you meditate, it's actually very practical in the beginning. And it's also practical down the line as well, but especially in the beginning because you're pausing and you're watching your mind. It's as simple as that. And when you're watching your mind, you're understanding what's on your mind, what you like, what you don't like. You're reflecting about your job, your relationships, everything. So as a result of this, you have significant more self-awareness. And that's great. That's wonderful. We get to a certain point in our practice where we start to reify the self, or we make it this thing, this agent that never changes. Like this is who I am. I'm Brandon. I'm 38 years old. I'm a meditation teacher, or I'm an engineer, or I'm this, I'm that. That's how I am. And in society, that's how we introduce ourselves. Like, what's your name? And the natural question after that is, what do you do? Like, what's your role? And that's how we identify the self, mostly in this part of the world, in the Western world. Now, for most people, they find their sense of self behind their eyes in the middle of their head. Or for most men, that's how they sense themselves. They're behind their eyes in their head. For a lot of people, they find their sense of self in their heart. That as we traverse the spiritual path, we start to see that we could possibly be in our heart or our head. And the self moves, it changes. So as we progress along, we start to see that the self is like a rainbow. It's vividly occurring yet insubstantial. So as we traverse the spiritual path or the path of meditation, there's no need to get rid of the self. There's absolutely no need to get rid of the self. So you can have all your intricacies, all your quirks, and develop a different view of awareness. So that's quite fantastic. And a lot of people think meditation, you have to get rid of the self. You have to get rid of the thoughts. You don't have to get rid of anything. What we learn as we go along the path is that we start to hold everything from a view of warm awareness with no center, no edge. And this is what I like to say, and many others will say, transcend and include the self. So there's no need to get rid of the self, but we start to see its nature is empty or insubstantial or open, like a cloud in the sky. Clouds are clearly happening. You can see a cloud. Look right now if it's still daylight for you. Look out your window. Do you see clouds? Would it be senseless to say, oh, that cloud is Bobby, that cloud is Jessica, and you have a relationship with this cloud? The clouds are vividly occurring and they're beautiful, yet they're being held by the sky. And the sky neither comes nor goes. It's always there. You can't not have space, you see. Space is always here. Awareness is always here. So the clouds, they change this, and what generates the self, the thoughts, emotions, perceptions, all of this it changes, yet behind all of this, there's a field of awareness that never changes. So a lot of people, we take refuge in the self. This is me. This is my house. This is my stuff. I earned this stuff. You can't take it away from me. Oh, but it can be taken away. Everything is impermanent. And this is a bittersweet aspect of that. Everything that you've earned rises and it falls. Yet this awareness, it never changes. And in my opinion, this is why we meditate. So we rest in this awareness. We allow the mind to clear on its own, and then we rest in pure awareness. And in many wisdom traditions, we call this the natural state, because you don't really have to do much to rest there. And this awareness is knowing, it's self-cognizant, it's aware of itself, but it's not a thing. And this is a safe harbor that's always here, always right now. You can truly rely on this awareness. The self changes in relation to what we have, what we are. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we find refuge in the self, or we find refuge or safe harbor in our relationships, or our money, or our life situation, or our status, you'll find you'll continually get let down. But if you find safe harbor in something deeper, always safe, always here, always now. So a little talk on the self, how we create the self, then we look at the nature of the self, and no need to get rid of it. I hope it's helpful to those who are listening.